Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslak talking to you about reciprocity.com. And in this particular video, I want to talk to you about whether college professors are actually broke. So, if you don't know me, I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor forward and help you out. So, in terms of whether college professors are broke, I'm going to sort of use the reference that to be broke, you are below the poverty line. And so that would mean that most people that are college professors are not going to be below the poverty line, and so they're not necessarily broke. However, given that some people are not as well off as others that are college professors, just like in any particular domain, um, college professors are just like regular everyday people in the things that they actually do. They just got a little bit longer of an education and they spent a little bit more time in the sort of educational process than other people, right? What makes people wealthy is there's really three things that you should be considering in looking into. And I sort of follow along and pay attention to the sort of Dave Ramsey plan as well. I don't know if you've ever heard of him or looked into his stuff, but it's generally good advice, although sometimes I disagree with him over some basic things in terms of what is going on, but in general, it's pretty good advice, right? So the first thing that you have to do is you have to give some of your money away doing something, and that is because the reason why it actually works in terms of generating revenue for you in the long run, it actually helps you build connections and opportunities that you wouldn't necessarily get if you weren't doing that. And second thing is that you have to save your resources that you have. So a general rule is somewhere between 10 and 20% of all the money that you're making should be saved in some sort of way. Now, I know that for some people it's going to be difficult to do that, so you probably should be looking at saving a couple of percent per year of what you are currently making, right? So it's something along those lines. And then hopefully you aim at 10 to 20%. And the last thing is that you're spending some of these resources. So you're having fun, you're not feeling constrained in the things that you're doing. So if you're doing those basic things in terms, especially in terms of saving money and living below your the below of how much you're actually bringing in, you actually are not necessarily broke. And so college professors really vary in what they do with the money that they actually get. So an average college professor is going to make anywhere between, say, about $50,000 a year. That's probably the low, really close to the bottom, to $150,000, $200,000 a year, with the average being somewhere roughly about $80,000 to $90,000 a year in terms of what they're looking at, and that changes every year. It really changes in the discipline that you're looking at. So it's hard for me to give you those like specific hard numbers. I was trying to look that up in terms of giving you specific hard numbers, but it really varies between all the individuals that are out there in the different disciplines and stuff like that. So the numbers are not necessarily all that relevant. However, what's not relevant is how much you actually make. And that's an important thing to sort of learn. And hopefully you learn that in this channel, is what you actually do with what you get that is more important. The sort of behavioral aspect behind what you do in your life, it's going to determine how much money you actually have in the long run, the resources that you actually have in the long run, rather than the sort of bottom line that you actually have. So if you are watching this video, sort of trying to determine yourself whether college professors are broke, what I'd rather you do instead is not worry about college professors and sort of blame them for their problems that they have and the behavioral problems that they have, but to rather invest in yourself. That's going to actually help you out more than it's going to help anybody else out. So the way that you actually become wealthy is not necessarily worry about what your college professors, how much money that they have, or whether that Steve Jobs had made a bunch of money, or whether Bill Gates has made a bunch of money, whatever it is. What you need to really worry about in terms of wealth, in terms of you, is investing in your own abilities to do good in this world. That's how you necessarily build a competence, and that's how you actually will become wealthy, is to sort of practice very simple personal finance kind of stuff that will go a tremendous long ways, right? So personal finance is not necessarily all that difficult, but if you are that one person that is going to pick up a personal finance book, you are 99% ahead of the game, and you're probably going to be doing extremely well by the time. So if you're watching this when you're 20, by the time you're 50, you're going to be doing really well. So I'd encourage you to actually do that and to invest in your own self, rather than worrying about what other people are doing around you, and sort of building up what is going on with you, and rather than focusing on the things that are not necessarily going to help you out in any sort of way. So our college professors broke. If you look at the basic salary that they actually make, it's likely that they're not going to be, although it's really expensive to go through and get a college, to get the degrees in order to become a college professor, unless you do that very wisely. At some stage in their life, they will probably do extremely well if they invest and do all the right things with personal finance. So that's what I would encourage you to do, is to invest in yourself, really work on doing those three things, right? So giving some of that money away that you're making, saving some of that money, so 10 to 20%. So if you save 10 to 20% of the income that you have, you'll be extremely wealthy by the time you're 65. If you start, even if you start at when you're 40 and you start doing that, you'll be wealthy enough that you just don't have to worry about any sort of things, if you're actually doing that. And then the last thing is to spend some of your money to enjoy it. And so where we get tripped up a lot is how much we're actually spending on our life. And so if you can reduce how much you're actually spending on your life and try to find things that are really enjoyable and exciting, that give you a lot of benefit, that don't really cost that much money. So, really simple things in life, right? Like riding bikes, going for jogs, doing, even reading books from libraries, going to a library and picking up books like that, or even picking up movies from the local library, doing very simple things like that, go a long ways in terms of where you're going to be. And it's the people that are able to do this for 10, 20, 30, 40 years that actually become very, very wealthy. So some college professors, because they've done this for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, are extremely wealthy. But some college professors that have not done that and kind of gave up, and not really done any of the personal finance stuff, they're not doing that well, and they are, really struggling in their life. And so hopefully you don't have to deal with that either by knowing these sort of basic rules in finance, in personal finance. Just go out, read a personal finance book, and I encourage you to do that, and just save a little bit of your money every year. Don't care if it's in a savings account. Hopefully it's in mutual funds. It's going to get you a long ways. And then that's all you have to do. And then you're not going to have to worry about being broke. And then the other thing is really investing in who you are rather than somebody else that's out there. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.